Welcome everybody back to Rob's MetalWorks. Today we are in the capital city, not for South by Southwest, mind you, but only to deliver to you one of the world's most renowned metal guitarists. It brings me great pleasure to welcome former Anthrax axeman and current Red Lamb guitarist, Mr. Dan Spitz, to the program. Dan, how are you doing? Welcome. It is my honor to have you on our program.
It's my pleasure to have you on the bus, and it's just a great feeling to be sitting here again in a bus.
Yeah.
And of course, it's for a whole different reason this time than the path that Scott and I started many eons ago, before the word Big Four or thrash metal existed, or any form of the 7,000 genres there is now. So it's good to break new ground once again, but for humanity.
That's what I really want to start with today. I mean, it's been since 2005, 2006, and you really, participated in the reunion of Anthrax, and since then have kind of just moved on. And now you're venturing forth with Red Lamb. Why did it take so long? Because you could have really kind of moved on it at any time, I guess, in fans' perspective, wanting to hear new music from Dan Spitz. But why did it take until this past year to kind of really put your new first musical outing into the public?
Well, two reasons. One is, for me to create music, and that love was there again. It had to be something as fresh and new as it was the first time, because I'm not going to just continue on to write Among the Living Part 2 or something like that, or Fistful of Metal Part 2, whatever it may be. It had to have some form of something new. Part 2 of it is me and my wife Candy have 2 children with autism. So I can't just leave. I can't just get blocks of hours and hours of time to come up with those riffs. So it was an elongated process. Once I decided, okay, I got to come up with an album's worth of riffs. And as we all know, metal starts with guitar riffs that are something new. New progressions. Somewhere it has to have a certain percentage of what I think the future of this genre should be a little bit. And it just took a long time, and then eventually, Dave came into the picture, and after all the demos started, the first demos were actually me and Peter Baltes from Accept, and then it was just kind of me toying around. A really good friend of mine, he's just a great guy and killer bass player, and it just kind of continued to escalate, and the writing, got better and better, and I get deeper and deeper, and here we are, eons later, as you say, sitting on a bus and we're in Texas, and we're starting to roll and get out of the gate, and it feels just like those first days, back all over again.
Well, I was remiss not to welcome you to the Lone Star State. It's great to have you in these parts, and that's the reason we came up to Austin. I told my guys, Dan Spitz is a legendary musician, and we need to get him in front of the camera. We're going to talk a lot about Red Lamb in the next few moments, and I really want to start with the name Red Lamb, because I know there were some initially some name changes, but talk a little bit about the name Red Lamb. What are you trying to convey with that name? What does it mean to you?
Well, Red Lamb it's basically it's from the Bible and Revelations, and it just represents all that I am across the board, from what I am today, what I am yesterday, and what I'll be tomorrow, and what the band's message is. It's just the Lamb of God, kind of. It's the blood of the Lamb, and there's sacrifices, just like He sacrificed, that we have to do. But this time, I have to do it for humanity and for others. It's not about just playing metal music, and it's not just doing one benefit show for awareness of autism. It's just a permanent Dan Spitz plays, and we're just trying to spread a little bit of that awareness.
Right. I think there's a lot of people still out there who are learning about Red Lamb, who are realizing that you're actually back out in the public eye musically. And of course, people have been big fans since early in your career, many decades now. How would you describe musically what you're delivering with Red Lamb versus kind of what you've done in the past? Is there anything new that the years of experience have brought to your playing, or the way that you approach music?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier when I had to, finish this up, and when, after David came into the picture, the both of us were like, he loved what I had done up to that point before we started rewriting the lyrics, and him and I co-producing everything and cutting up the songs and so forth, which is what I needed at that point in time. I was just about, I was out of gas. I was like as far as I could take it. And, okay, now it's time for a producer. And it's what we do. We need that other member. Right. And I'd flown out to help Dave in his studio on some equipment that I recommended that he use, called a Fractal Audio Axe Effects. And, we're just hanging out, and he was like, well, let me hear some, and that's kind of weird for us. We don't really talk about music, and our relationship is more on a personal and a cool level, just hanging out and that kind of stuff. So I did let him hear it, and he listened to everything on the ride to his studio that day, and he loved it. And he said, how about I roll up my sleeves and help you? And I couldn't even speak after that. I'm like thinking to myself, oh wow, that'd be crazy, So when we got past all that beautiful stuff, and Dave's incredible ability to step in and help and stop what he was doing to do so for the cause, because Dave's been in my house and he's held my children. He knows what autism is all about. It had to take a turn where it's the first time two people from the Big Four ever actually put something on a CD together like that I know of, especially a full album. Whereas I wrote all the music, but now it's like, let's dissect all the lyrics, and we all know Dave writes incredible lyrics. Mm-hmm. And I got to stand there, I think the first person on earth, and to watch this go on over months and months and months, the two of us working on lyrics. It had to be. We got to a point where we were both sitting in the mixing board one night, just falling asleep, looking at each other, going, this has to be like, part Dave and part Dan. When someone first puts the laser on, or, downloads it for free, whatever they're going to do for it, they have to know that's what it is. It's not just me returning in the sound of Dan's guitar, there it is again, oh cool, he really is back, kind of thing, that kind of thing. It really had to be a piece of both our hearts in the music, and we really gave our hearts to this music. So for me, the music side of things, extracting the lyrics, it had to have, at least 10% of what I think the certain chord progressions and so on, and sound of the music itself and my guitar playing is a little bit what I think the future should go, and it should be more open territory. Right. You listen to our songs, it's not just straight ahead, it goes up, it goes down, there's an emotional ride to each song, even if you extract all the lyrics, and that's really the goal.
It's also pretty kind of well known, talking about, and I'm glad that you share a little bit about your personal relationship with Dave, that he became a reborn Christian many years ago, and you live the same type of lifestyle. I guess, does that kind of help facilitate a lot of the growth in the friendship now in this stage in life?
Oh, why, of course. It's a whole different level, and that's a connection that's just, beautiful and awesome. So we can relate on many levels. Standing in his studio, it's awesome. We wanted to film, or everyone around us wanted to film and take pictures, and and so on and so forth. And I'm sure this is going to be on a major label, and where there really isn't any major labels as we know anymore. And it's like, no. We're going to do this. It's it's from our heart. It's from his heart through ours, and it's going to be underground style. The same way I started Anthrax, and me and Scott just did what we got to do, and we clawed our way, and give people the truth in the lyrics and just some real good music, and just get out and start playing. And that's where we are now. We're getting out and starting playing.
There's a lot of really killer tracks on the CD. Of course, I think the single that's really gotten a lot of attention is Puzzle Box, which is kind of kind of embodies the mantra of awareness for autism. Can you share a little bit about your approach to that song and what it means to you? I think there's a lot of people out there who really don't realize what autism is. We know it's a neurological disorder. I've heard people, talk about in exopolitics, other reasons why this is happening more in today's society, as we see the rates of children who are experiencing things like autism or even ADHD and other disorders. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, for those who don't know, my wife Candy and I have identical image twin boys, Brendan and Jaden, who are on the autism spectrum, which is what we call ASD, meaning there is now a broad spectrum that's recognized. You can be very, very low functioning, very, very high functioning, and so it's we're all starting to have someone in our family, or we know someone with this word, whereas when you and I grew up, there wasn't schools for autism and so on and so forth. So there is certainly a problem, and through the only way I know how to do things, and that's metal. I thought it was time where not just someone gave someone the rights to do a benefit, or someone stamped a code on one show, that I would let in true metal fashion everybody into the struggles that Candy and I have as a family each day through the first video, and then take it way beyond that in viral avenues. And when the children come out on the tour bus and so on and so forth, there'll be videos, and to bring just an awareness. We're not selling anything. We're not trying to raise the money and stuff it down anyone's throat. Just hey, when you come to a Red Lamb show, and we break out in an Anthrax song or something, and one of the quote-unquote fans, which is something I don't really like to call them, because everybody's kind of in the band in metal, in thrash metal. I feel they are. That if one kid goes, hey, that's Spitz, and did you know his kids have autism, and the other kid goes, hey, what's autism, and then he tells him, that's just killer. That's exactly where I'm going, and maybe the kid knows what's going on, and or a couple that's about to have a child or has a child, and doesn't kind of listen to the past generation if their child is reversing things that he learned at around 18 months or so, or just feels something's not correct and not talking yet, but then mom or grandma is saying, oh, don't worry, you didn't talk till you were 4 or 5, and so on, because we live in a different environment and we can't listen to those people. We have to act very swiftly and carefully to catch autism at its earliest stages, when the mind is still pliable, so we can somewhat work with it, and not later on in life. And that's what I'm trying to do on a full-time basis.
Well, I will be completely honest and share with you that because of you, I've learned a lot about autism. So I mean, there was a lot of things I really didn't know about it.
But the point is that you do it on your own. It's in Puzzle Box is a song that obviously Dave and I really looked at every single syllable and word, and it was so important to us, because we knew it was the first song in music at our level that was going to eventually keep floating to the top and keep floating to the top. Whereas I kept seeing advocacy in the arts field, in film, in Formula One, in Europe, you have soccer, in football, Dan Marino, et cetera, and there is no one that is living this struggle every day and is going to do something about it in music. So that song was very, very, and the video was very important to us, because we also had the founders of Autism Speaks in the video, which is the most incredible organization there is, just for information, where if you do think something's wrong, just go to their site and they ain't selling nothing. Same thing. Just you get your info and away you go.
There is a line in the song that I found kind of interesting. It says, one day the truth will be revealed. Now, does that mean that do you feel personally or in the community of autism that the government or that doctors or somewhere someone knows why we're seeing the levels of these types of disorders increasing in our society?
Well, it has a twofold meaning. You can take it which way you want it. How we wrote it was, the blue puzzle piece, global international symbol, which is from Autism Speaks for Autism, which is on the bus, and pretty much if you've seen it before, you know what it is, kind of thing. That's the missing puzzle piece. That once you put that piece in, the problem is solved and we can figure it out. But as of now, there's not even a blood test to test. We're at infancy stages here. So that's really what the meaning is. It's not pointing a finger at anything or anyone, because we can't. We're that at the infancy stage of trying to find a cure.
Do you think about though, like, what is the reason though that we're seeing these types of numbers versus, back in the 50s?
Of course, my children were not born with autism, so let's definitely get that right on the table. Brendan and Jaden, were acting in movies with Maggie Gyllenhaal, with Academy Award-winning directors doing the movies, Sam Mendes, and in TV commercials with Brooke Shields, as infants, all the way up till walking, talking at 9 months, and so on and so forth. So we're not the proud parents who have our own home video cameras going, oh look, no, they were talking. There's someone else who has those, that they took directions from movie directors and so on and so forth. So there's so many factors. So if you're not born with it, why are people all of a sudden in this generation and so many unlearning things that they learn and going backwards? Something's wrong. Right. Why is there autism schools now being built everywhere? Why do we have to build them? Something's wrong.
I'm gonna send you a link on Facebook. I saw an interesting YouTube video from a researcher, and she's an exopolitics researcher, and I'll send that to you. I think you'll find that kind of. And she said some kind of spacey things, but nonetheless, kind of on the fringe stuff. But it was, it's something that I think you would find interesting, and that I guess at this stage we have to investigate kind of all angles of what's happening.
With our children, we were they stopped talking at one point, and Candy had found online, and she was just Googling, we warm up the baby's milk, even when they're older, just in a little plastic bottle, we put it in the microwave and so on and so forth. But, that plastic, that certain kind of plastic was not yet governmental regulated. The PCBs are being leached into the milk, into your food when you put it on that plastic plate. So things like that, not alone, but compounded with so many other environmental things that are in our generation. Our grandparents didn't have plastic. They basically were eating off the cart, and the meat was coming from the farm, and it was a different era, and so a different set of problems that we have that we need to figure out what's going on.
Also, people can find out there and read the article that was really cool. The Palm Beach Post did, entitled "Our Life is Hell," and it basically kind of documented a short period of yours and Candy's life with the children. I read it and I was like really blown away by it. Talk a little bit about what kind of experience was that for the family.
That was an incredible experience. They lived with us for a little while, and that's exactly what Red Lamb, what I want to do is let you all in. If you read that article, you'll see a glimpse of our life and the reality that we have to live each day with autism meltdowns. And what, if you don't know what that is, young children have temper tantrums. Okay, we have them times multiplied, and we have them often to the point where we can't just put Brendan and Jaden in a car and go to the supermarket if we need food. We just can't. It's a plethora of meltdowns could happen from that routine being changed, the daily rituals, and so on and so forth. So if you read the article, it really clues somebody in on our daily struggles, and it's titled pretty well. I think you read it, so so it's hard for me to be here as well. It's the first time that I'm not home 24/7, and first time Candy's taking them to Disney without me, which is people say, oh, you're taking them to Disney, and it's going to be great and a fun trip, and so on and so forth. So our life is quite different than other people with children. Taking them to Disney is through repetition. We take them once a month, and so we hope that they have less and less meltdowns, or don't get thrown off rides, and can continue when they're older to actually function in society and actually go there. And Candy's not having a good time right now because now I'm not there, so that pattern is different. So it's extremely bad.
I'm sorry to hear that. Also, now you're sacrificing that time with your family to be out here on the Anarchy for Autism tour. How does it feel for you to be back on stage, traveling around in this bus, meeting fans in the evening and performing, playing guitar live again on a daily ritual basis? How do you feel about that? Aside from the things that you have to sacrifice.
It finally, I finally feel normal in my skin again. As messed up as that sounds, yeah, I started at a very young age, touring, living on a bus and so on and so forth. So I never felt right in being in Switzerland, fixing watches or going to school. And, literally, over there I just shaved my head off. I plucked my eyebrows all weird, so people would just kind of just change my name from Dan to Daniel. I made everyone call me Daniel. So only true metal fans could kind of find me in the watchmaking world kind of thing, and on purpose. But I never felt right in my skin. I was put here to do one thing, and that's play my guitar. And that's what Dave always used to call me on the phone and yell at me about. Like at the very end, I was sitting in what's called a complication room in one of the large companies, when there's only maybe 3 or 4 of us in a room, locked separately from all the watchmakers, and we work on the insane stuff. And there's David called me that day, and I think he said something like, there's only me and you and James and Kirk and Gary King and everybody. We're still alive, dude. But you're the one you're the only one that's still not, you're alive, but you're not playing with us. Like, what? All right, enough messing with the little watches. You got to come home. You got to play. You have something to do. And I was just about ready at that point. I was starting to, okay, I've had enough of this. I've reached the top of this watchmaking thing. It's like learning a cool riff on guitar that you never thought you could learn. All right, I finally got there. Okay, this is cool, whatever.
So should people assume that during that watch time that you didn't even play guitar privately?
Never. I didn't even own a guitar. Wow. I got to turn it off. So I look down the row where I'm at, and it's just like skinhead guy. He's got all tattoos, and he's one of the world's most premier watchmakers. And he's blasting music. Everyone listens to some kind of music, and I'm thinking he's listening to like Beethoven or something, And I look down at his drawer, and there's freaking Slayer. He's blasting Slayer, and I look on his desk, and he's got one of the world's most complicated watches, probably like $2 million. And there's no diamonds or anything on it. It's just because it's like a Formula One race car engine. He's just got it all over there, and he's just blasting Slayer. And I just got off the phone or email with Dave, and I was like, this is like, it just connected. Like, I got to get out of here. Yeah, it was like, okay, dude, like, I got to go now. I've been doing this in silence, but so I guess Slayer reversed me back to playing guitar, which is awesome. So thank you guys.
Thank goodness for that. So now you're doing this run. It's a month-long run. It's going to run till April 7th. So it's going to go longer.
Oh, we're well into like 5 months already. Oh, wow. Yeah,
talk a little bit about that. Is this just like going to be a U.S. tour? Do you want to go out and maybe support, be a support act for get in front of bigger audiences, or do you just want to do your own thing?
Well, what I hope to do is, right now is just very hard to just get out of the gate, and that's where we are. We're as a band, we're now solidified. I have some of what I think is some of the world's most incredible musicians with me. My bass player, Al G plays like 6-string bass. It's like beyond crazy. I found what I think is one of the sickest drummers in the world, Kevin Roy. So we're doing a bunch of old Anthrax stuff too, and so I've actually gone back and restudied everything that I did on that to make that very much a precision-oriented execution. But yeah, I'd love for some of the other bands and other people that maybe I helped on the way up in the past to recognize that I'm back playing and say, come on out with us, or can we all just gang together and do something on a permanent basis or something, and so on and so forth, and so I could get back and see all my friends again and feel normal in my skin, but also give back something to the world. If I can bring a little bit of awareness to just one person, then that's I did my job, man.
I'm sure you're doing that every night on tour, Dan. Videos, as a video program, historically, we love videos. We've seen the 2 videos that you guys have done for Puzzle Box and the Cage track. What do you think about videos? Did you like doing those videos? Do you still think that in this YouTube era that videos are more relevant than they were back in the past, or less?
Well, I think we have to do them. They tell our story in that visual way. once again, just like our music, the videos are put back in our hands, and they're not the record company guy, which, obviously our genre when we were starting out, no one knew what to do with when it was us and Metallica and all of us. So, we were directing. We were the few those big record companies didn't know what to do with. So we did everything. We kind of self-managed way back then, because they were like, well, to us it just sounds like a bunch of toilet noise anyway, so we don't know what to do with it. It's not pop music. So it's no different now than then, except back then, it was giant budgets. So now, luckily my singer makes music videos for like pop girls and stuff. So he's a very big asset, and he's the one that did our videos, and there'll be more. The next one, we're going to do kind of like a life on the road kind of thing. So yeah, I think it plays a very big part, and I think you should spend as least as you can on it and try to make it really true to what you are. And hopefully we've succeeded out of the gate to do that.
I'm glad that you share that. Would you anticipate maybe recording, videotaping any of the live performances, or audio recording any of the live performances?
Yeah, I think the next one's going to be kind of life on the road. We're already started doing that kind of, documenting everything. That's kind of what's the next step here, and that's where we're at.
Okay. As we get near to the end of this interview, Dan, I have to ask you about your guitars. Of course, everybody remembers the old Jackson offsets you used to play. We all know they're in the hard rocks in various parts of the country. People know now that you're primarily playing PRS. Is that correct?
No.
Not anymore?
Actually, now I'm working with a Polish company called Skervesen on my own model. They make some of the most incredible shredding guitars that I've ever touched. The bodies are very thin, and they're making me some I can't say, I mean, they're neck through body guitars, right, but they're fan fret, and so they're two different scale lengths in the same guitar. Kind of like if you could play a Les Paul and have a ESP, or what's called a Fender scale length, all in one guitar. So it's pretty cool, and it's definitely it's sick looking. And I also play.
Can you share what body style it is?
It's just like a Strat body, okay, but it's very thin. And if you go on their site, Skervesen.com, and you'll see it.
I saw the logo.
I actually have one here. That's not my prototype, but it's one of them. It's just incredible. It's made out of just incredible exotic woods and so on and so forth. And I also play a bunch of tellies that I designed myself. Built by a luthier that's always taken all my guitars, no matter from whatever company they are, and he's always made them mine, and his name is Mitch Weissman. He builds up Bo Diddley's square guitars. So I found just like the perfect neck and the perfect body Telecaster and the perfect weight, and I kind of changed everything up. I mean, if you picked up a Jackson, if you're familiar with playing a Jackson guitar, and you picked up my Tele, you'd probably think it was the best guitar you ever played in your life, because the fretboard is the same kind of radius and so on and so forth. So it looks like a normal Tele, but it's a shred machine, man. It's crazy.
Well, I mean,
we got a bunch of those on the road.
Well, we know your gear. Also,
actually, me and Grover Jackson, as you know, and we've broken so many doors down in the past, and the same with PRS. I did the same with the Teles. It was like, oh, what am I going to do to make a Tele like metal, But it was more for me, where I found wood for the neck that was 2,000 years old and that had been laying near Alaska, frozen underwater for 250 years in an oxygen-free zone. So now it's like buying an old guitar, but you don't have to wait for it to age. Right. So it's like a 2,000-year-old guitar. So it can go in and out of the truck each night. The neck never moves, and it sounds like a really, really old guitar, right? Like out of the gate. It's pretty incredible.
And inside in the club, I had a chance to really look closely at your Scott Dixon guitar cases. Those are pretty darn cool too. And I saw you post about them a couple of days ago.
Yeah, everything I wanted to do with Red Lamb in my return, it can't be. I don't live in the past. I like to look into the future. And the way we travel and the way the music business now is so different than, having giant refrigerator racks of gear like I did in Anthrax. It's just, you just can't do it. Yes, you can do it in America if you're going to stay here, but obviously my music is global, and I need to be able to if I'm invited, to go play a festival or a show, or with some of my past friends who invite us to go play somewhere else in the world, we need to go, and I don't want to play on rented equipment. I don't want to play on other equipment. So all of our gear is geared that way, that it's flyable. Most of it's under 50 pounds, and hence the Scott Dixon cases that I found, which I think, all in all, just the best cases in the world, no matter what the weight. They're like built out. I think he used to build airplanes, is what it was. So it's not just metal. It's like the skin of airplanes and laminated skins of airplanes. There's no wood in it, so the whole case weighs like 10 pounds before you put 3 guitars in it. But it's this, when you can check it in as luggage, and you pay for one piece of luggage just like you would check one guitar, except in there is 3. So you carry 9 guitars on the road. I only pay for 3 instead of 9, and they go everywhere around the world because they really only weigh like 30 pounds per case. And it's the same for my guitar rig. I've been using the Axe Effects almost since they started. I was one of the earliest people working with them, so I've been programming it for many years, and I cloned all my old Anthrax amps. I cloned all my speaker cabinets, all the microphones. And I remembered I was the technical dude in the old days who watched all the producers and sat there forever and ever and ever. So I remember the mics I used. I remember where they were placed in my brain. I remember everything. So when I break into a lead, it switches to a different head. If it's Among the Living, it'll be, it's kind of like a Mark IIc Mesa Boogie head, but it's actually a 2C plus that they had tweaked for me, with a certain cabinet and a certain speaker. And then a different era Anthrax song I might do, it's a different head and a different cabinet. And then for Red Lamb, quite different.
Dan, thank you, sir, for a great interview, and for giving our viewers all the information, all the little stories. We love it, man. Like I said earlier, it's a great privilege to be here with you today. Not only am I here to support Red Lamb, but also just a huge Dan Spitz fan, and I wish you nothing but the best out on the road this year, man, and much success.
For taking the time and for the support. It really means a lot this time, and more than you'll ever know.
Thank you, Dan. And we're going to head back to San Antonio now and share this interview with the entire world. Everyone out there, remember, Dan Spitz is back. The new album is called Red Lamb. You can pick it up at redlambofficial.com and get and see everything we discussed here in this interview. You saw the man only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.